everybody, and welcome to Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. We have been off for a few weeks, but we are back now bringing you all of the latest news. We're going to start with Habitat for Humanity acquiring property from the city of Marianna.
In national news, we're going to talk about how President Biden is planning to have the U.S. oil reserves drop by 40%.
And then we'll switch to sports and discuss the women's national championship as well as the men's national championship.
And in entertainment, we'll talk about another one of Chris Brock's brothers. Kenny says Oscar slap eats at him. You just belittle it.
And then we'll switch to relationship fatigue and talk about how far would you go to defend your mate. Byron, let's get started. We're going to start with our local news. Habitat for Humanity has acquired 4 lots from the city of Marianna, and they are all located on the West End. And these are going to be basically for affordable housing for the citizens of Jackson County. What do you think about that, Byron?
Oh, that's outstanding. That it's a lot. I know it's a lot of properties out that way that either people that have left them there and hadn't done anything with them. So that's great to get some acquisition. And to me personally, it looks like Habitat for Humanity has been that only entity that's kind of been working for homeowners or people that don't have homes to help them get to become homeowners. We've got a lot of programs out there, and kudos to the Habitat for Humanity for the work they're doing.
What happened was, Byron, they actually enter into an agreement in 2014. It's called an inventory property agreement, and the nonprofit Habitat for Humanity wants to acquire property so they can build on it, and they get this at a low cost rate. I think for these properties they paid $7,000. Now it was reported they paid $750 per lot, but when you add in the back taxes that you do have to pay, it came to a total of $7,000 that they got for all 4 lots. So I did have a chance to catch up with Carmen Smith, who's the executive director for Habitat for Humanity, and this is what she shared with me.
We at Habitat are so very grateful for the partners that we have in the city of Marianna. However, the true beauty of the inventory property agreement isn't really found in the relationship or transaction between Habitat for Humanity and the city. The true beauty is found in being able to provide safe and decent housing for, in this case, 4 additional families who are in need of permanent housing affordability. The acquisition of these properties is in what is affectionately known as the West End of Marianna. The homes will add vitality to a section of Marianna that is in need of single-family residential development. These 4 homes are also in addition to the 7 homes, which will be the Gillis Ridge subdivision that Habitat is constructing.
Again, Byron, these properties are located on the West End, and I'll give the streets. One is on Cedar Street, one is on Nantonia Avenue, and Clay Street and Forest Street. So those are the 4 locations that these properties are located on. And again, they are looking to build affordable housing on each lot. Now, they're also going to be building a subdivision. They have 7 additional properties that they already have. And Byron, they're going to build a subdivision called Gillis Ridge subdivision. And that's located on Garrett Lane. So Byron, that's great news that, people will be able to, purchase homes, single family homes in that area.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, affordable housing is definitely was needed in Jackson County. When you have an average household income, is pushing the poverty line in Jackson County. So, that's been a big thing of trying to get affordable housing, especially in that West End area and those properties. Hey, this is a great benefit for those out there. If you're not knowledgeable or up on Habitat for Humanity, you need to be, which is why this show is one of the great things about what we do, is to get that information out to those that may not have access to it. So this is great news. Habitat for Humanity to keep doing what they're doing, because like I said, it seems like they're the only entity that's making this possible, making it effective. It's been a lot of talks, But seems like to me, that's the only for sure avenue to make affordable housing accessible to those citizens in that West End area that's so needed.
You're right. And so we're looking at Gillis Ridge subdivision that will be located on Garrett Lane, and that's going to be 7 properties. In addition to that, they'll add the 4 lots, in those 4 locations that I mentioned earlier. Now, the projected time frame for Gillis Ridge subdivision to be completed is December of 2024. So gotta keep our eye on that. And again, you're right, Habitat for Humanity, Carmody Smith and her team are doing a great job in bringing affordable housing to the area, because it's almost like a revolving cycle. I think if you remember, me and Vance Coley talked about, it's like a revolving cycle between a lack of affordable housing and a lack of jobs. So it's like a cycle. You don't know like what's what. It's one problem, it's the next problem, but it's one depends on the other. So they have to continue to attack that. So kudos to Carmody Smith again and Habitat for Humanity. And I'll move on to my next story. Alford, the city of Alford is getting a Family Dollar Tree. They already have a Dollar General, so now they're going to add another opportunity for people to buy grocery, which is at the Family Dollar Tree. And it's going to be located on the north end of town. I guess it seems like when you're coming in from Cottondale, that end of Alford, Byron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's good. And I want to go on to some state news. We had a lot of bills that was passed by our state legislation. Governor DeSantis signed off on a lot of bills. I think we're like in the 42 or something like that so far as of today. But we'll talk about those, each week. Just kind of pick a few to discuss. But this first bill I want to talk about is the most popular bill called Don't Say Gay bill. So Byron, that bill basically forbids any discussion in the classroom instruction on talking about male or female and sexual orientation. So I know you're familiar with that bill. You tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I like to be I like to play devil's advocate, but I also like to be fair when it comes to these things. It's kind of like in the same situation when the Affordable Care Act came out and it was coined Obamacare, but it just ended up benefiting President Obama, during the passing of it. The Don't Say Gay bill is actually what the Parental Rights and Education. That's the actual name of the bill. Now, me personally, kindergarten to 3rd grade, I remember when I was in school, we got the little birds and the bees talk at 6th grade. I think, kindergarten to 3rd is a little young to be talking about, and that was just on, regular sex ed. So I don't really have a problem with it. I think those conversations are for, teenagers and when they're reaching their adolescence age. I think, when they're young like that, it's hard to get a kid's attention with 15, 20 minutes. So, I don't have a real problem with it. But when we go down that slippery slope, when we start giving these coin names for it and then attaching things to it. But I will say, the supporters for this bit, some people take things, left and then run with it. But I really don't have a real problem with it, to be honest with you. But I know the opposition is taking it in a direction that it's attack against gay, the LGBTQ community and things of that such. But I really didn't see it that way, to be honest with you.
Well, I agree with you, and on this one I agree with Governor DeSantis. I personally, as a mother, think anything from K through 3rd grade is a bit young to discuss that in class. I think that needs to be discussed at home and at the discretion of the parents at that age. So I agree with you. I agree with Governor DeSantis on that. So, however, Disney does not agree. Disney have come out and made a statement, and right now they are really at odds with the governor. I think the governor is looking like pulling perks that they get from the state because they've come out against this bill, Byron.
Yeah, that's the thing. And a lot of people don't know the deal that Disney has, that Walt Disney has. They basically, and anybody out there, correct me if I'm wrong, look it up. But they basically have it, set up where they have like their own government, inside that property. So I don't know anybody that's ever gotten in trouble at Disney or anything like that if they had their own police or something like that. But they basically have a deal that was made with Walt Disney way back, when he acquired that property. So that's one of those things where, from you're looking at a corporation trying to make the best out of their situation, and this is one of those things where politics and business are colliding, and we'll see where it goes. But Governor DeSantis, he has a majority Republican Senate and a majority Republican House. So I guess it'll just be, government versus corporation. See where that goes. We'll see what is the what is that game where two cars are about to play chicken. We'll see what this game of chicken goes.
You mentioned that they had their own governing. So basically it's like a 55-year-old special district, giving the company self-governing powers. That's what they have, and Governor DeSantis is suggesting that they look at that and roll that back. Now, whether that's doable, we don't know, but that's what we're looking at. They basically, like you say, have their own governing powers at Disney. Now, none of the other companies, theme parks have come out and said anything. Only Disney. So I want to make sure that we're clear on that. I do want to make sure people are aware exactly what the verbiage is in that bill. It says classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with the state standards. That is the language in that bill.
Yeah, and the caveat back on it, it's a lot of things I've noticed as a parent, because I get it a lot of times. Every next grade that either my children go to, it's almost like being involved and being having it's almost like we're dinosaurs, and that has got to change. Families that are engaged have got to get more engaged with the child's education, the child's progress in the school system, as well as bringing family back into and family interactions back into school. A lot of things that have happened over the years have kind of taken that away. And I think and like I say, the teachers we've learned over the past couple of years how important they are, but we definitely have learned how important it is to be involved more and what they actually have to deal with. So we've got to get back to that, because it's not the teacher's job to raise our kids, it's ours.
Right, I agree with that. And then just to mention something else that has come out of legislation, Governor DeSantis did sign the bill that put term limits on school board members. That term limit is 12 years, so that is the limit on whether a school board member can serve in that capacity. So 12 years, that is the school board limit. So as I said, we're going to be digging into a little bit more later on throughout the remaining few weeks in this month about the bills that he has signed. So kind of give people an overview of what happened during the legislation. And I do want to mention this too real quick. Another thing that happened in Congress, Byron, is that Congress signed a bill, and it's called the CAP Insulin. It's called Affordable Insulin Now Act. And what that does, it puts a cap on how much you have to pay or can pay for insulin per month, which is $35 a month. So the Affordable Insulin Now Act, you can only pay $35 per month. That's the cap that was passed in Congress. Sweet. And unfortunately, the vote for that was 232 for it and 193 against it. And unfortunately, one of the people that was against it was Matt Gaetz, and his reasoning was that people with diabetes should exercise, and lose weight.
Wow. Well, I got some choice words for that one for Mr. Gates there. Which show do we have? Basically, if you are not a doctor, if you're
Right?
not a health physician, you might want to keep your mouth shut because you don't know what you're talking about. So here's my thing. I'm diabetic, right? I'm type 2. And all of those, stigmas, oh, you just need to work out, you got type 2. Look, I PT every day. That means physical training, physical fitness, 2 miles at the minimum every day, bike, walk, run, strict diet, no starch, no nothing. And my sugar still stays up in the 200s. Okay. I have to add on meds after meds, and I'm still working on it. It has nothing to do with being overweight. And anybody that's seen me, I'm not obese, not morbid obese. There's not the issue. So to blatantly just throw out a statement like that, it shows just how ignorant you can be in certain situations, certain topics. I don't even see the political benefit in saying that. So sometimes people get to babbling off and they need to get checked sometimes. So let a constituent let you know, you're not trained in that area. And a lot of times, even if you are, it might not be your subject matter expertise.
Exactly.
So yeah, stuff like that gets under my skin because I've heard people say stuff like that, and it's like, stop, people, we gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop just throwing out, thinking we know something, and you're around some and just blurting out mess, but yeah.
I figured we'll have something to say about that once I share that information. But thankfully, the Affordable Insulin Now Act did pass. And the cap, again, is $35. So if you don't know that, check with your pharmacist and make sure that you are getting the appropriate rate for your insulin. All right. And then I want to just go on and mention something regarding food. The Panhandle is going to get another franchise. This franchise is called Big Chicken, and it's owned by Shaquille O'Neal. And the company is going to be featuring, this fabulous chicken sandwich. So, and they're actually, Byron, looking to put 4 in that Panama City area. So that's going to be kind of
cool. I
saw
that. Yeah, but and see that's my problem. So I Matt Gates want to say that, and I can't even enjoy a big chicken sandwich. It's got the starch and you got fried. So I may have to run 6 miles or do the bike for 2 hours before I can get me one of those. But yeah, I saw the ads and I Googled and I was like, man, so they're gonna give Chick-fil-A a run for their money, I tell you.
Yeah, I can't wait. It does say if things go smoothly, they're looking to roll that out early 2023. So we'll keep an eye on that and let everybody know that. So Byron, you know what? I failed to mention that our local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance is located in Marianna at 2867 Caledonia Street. In Marianna, you can reach them at 850-633-3460. Give them a call if you have any needs for any type of property, life insurance, auto insurance, any type of insurance that you need. Give Brightway Insurance a call. So Byron, again, make sure people understand that get informed on your local news. We do bring you local and state news. So you will not be behind when it comes to the information that's out there. Again, make sure you visit Brightway Insurance for all of your insurance needs and give them a call at 850-633-3460. What do you have for national news?
So for national news, before I begin, I want to talk about a company that cares about you. Because we care, we are here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Marianna and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Their caring staff is available 24/7 or when the need arises. Their services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. Please give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233 or simply stop by for more information. It's 850-482-2233. So my first story is about how the Biden administration are planning to use U.S. oil reserves to drop our oil prices by 40%. the sale of 180 million barrels of its oil is one of the many that will reduce reserves to levels recorded as low as 1984. President Joe Biden is once again trying to tap into the country's backup oil supply to fight soaring gas prices caused in part by Russian-Ukraine war, and the latest withdrawal will bring it to the lowest level in almost 40 years. Now, in most recent news, it's looking to be now Congress is kind of going at these oil companies because they feel like it's price gouging going on, and understand that people, when the president decides to, or the minister decides to go into the country's oil reserve, it's not going to happen right away. They have to go right back and dig into these oil rigs, have to all do all they set up, all the process, all the work has to begin. So this is not expected to happen to maybe May, June time frame, but I would say it's probably going to be long before we actually see gas go down. The average price of gasoline in the U.S. is about $4.18, according to AAA, up from about $2.87 a gallon this time last year. So we've seen places where it's even $6 a gallon.
Right, but I will say that I want to interject this, that thankfully I have seen Walmart. I don't know if you noticed this, but their gas prices has been trickling down. It was $4, but now I think when I saw the other day, it was like $3.93. So there's some slight decline. And I don't know about anybody else stations, but I paid attention to Walmart.
So that's a good point that you just made. So now you're starting to notice when you notice something like that, it's got to be some price gouging going on, right? Because corporations, if they're seeing a steady flow, they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. So if you notice that, it's got to be some type of price gouging going on. In addition to, once these oil reserves, if we're not, remember that story we did before where the only state that gets their gas from Russia is Hawaii, and they stop.
Right.
So the only real pressure, the real hurt that we're getting from Russia is what's happening as a result to other European nations that are getting their oil from Russia, but not America. So it points to something, something odd is going on here. But we won't see that big drop till somewhere around May to July is what they're saying. The first 90 million barrels will be released, hopefully from May to July. The Energy Department has announced this past Friday. So in addition to 20 million barrels scheduled for release in May, the remaining 90 million barrels will be released from August to October. So it'll be a minute. But, for right now, if other businesses, other oil gas companies follow suit from Walmart, because what ends up happening, if everybody's getting their gas from Walmart, they're not getting their gas from Marathon, they're not getting their gas from Shell. So it'll make them, get right. In addition to, now Congress is noticing, hey, why are you charging $6 over here or $4.18 when they're charging $3.87? So we may see it drop even lower come that time frame. So hopefully that'll start to give us some ease on our pockets, and we can get out there and travel. Because I'm making everything I got to make in one trip. I'm not trying to. If I go to Walmart, I'll save that one. Yeah. So in my next story, the man who beat Amazon says he's just getting started. This was according to Money Watch. His statement: after becoming the first of the online retailers, U.S. workers to vote, they voted in favor of forming a union. Amazon employees in New York aren't resting on their laurels. We already have interest in other buildings. The brother by the name of Christian Smalls, who spearheaded the fledgling Amazon labor union battle against the $1.7 trillion company, and outlining what the group is planning next. He said, in the last 48 hours, I've definitely been contacted by workers from all over the country that want to start their own Amazon labor union. We're going to absolutely help them. Smalls, who was actually interim president of the AOU, he formed the group last year when he was fired in March of 2020, following his efforts to organize protests over Amazon's COVID-19 protocols. He said he wants to take this fight to any Amazon facility where workers show interest in organizing. which is cool news. Some of the conditions was that they wanted the union was asking Amazon to raise associate prices by 7.5% to match the soaring inflation rate, reinstate 20-minute breaks, and provide a shuttle for workers. So what they were wanting, what didn't sound, too crazy. Yeah. And he's trying to spread to Alabama and places like that. So good news, but also I want people to be aware. Those retail workers, people that Walmart, fast food, you're noticing these tech giants that have now got spaceships and stuff like that. People are starting to unionize, but also understand how corporations, how business and the history of business works. America is addicted to free labor and large margins, a lot of profit, a lot of profit. So if big companies start noticing, okay, people unionizing, you're gonna have to pay. That's gonna cost them extra money. That's cost them extra overhead. Now they're looking at robots and they're looking at machines. We already see everybody in here, everybody's basically a cashier now when you go into Walmart. I think you may have the 20 item or less that you may have a person that actually ring you up. You're gonna start noticing. Right. I've seen a gas station where nobody's working in there. You just go in. If you want food, you can use a vending machine. If you want to use the bathroom, the ticket that you use to get gas, you scan it and it lets you in.
I heard about those.
Yeah. So, but the point I want to make on that is that's all fine and dandy. But if people don't spend their money, supply and demand is always number one. People don't spend their money at these places, then guess what? It's not gonna work. So if you want to go to a restaurant and you want to get served by a
robot,
a robot or a what are those things? Like not the ATM machine, but the kiosk. You have a kiosk there to make your order. Hey, you don't have to go there. So supply and demand is still always number one. These corporations think that, what you think about that, Ronnie, as far as the.
Well, I mean, I hate to see anybody replaced by a robot or a machine. Yeah. I do. I mean, I do use self-checkout. I do, especially if the lines are long. Walmart has, I don't know if you know this, there's kind of like two different kinds of self-checkout. One has the long conveyor belt, and then the other one is the one that's kind of like short. You just run up to it. Have you noticed that? It's two different self-checkouts at Walmart. Yeah.
For me, go ahead.
I'm just saying, so for the most part, to me, it seems like there are more self-checkout registers at Walmart than there are, live attendant registers. So, next time you're at Walmart, just kind of check it out and you can kind of, evaluate it for yourself.
That is it for me for national news. But before I leave, I want to talk about People's Funeral Home again. Because we care, we are here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. The caring staff is available 24/7 or when the need arises. Their services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price that is suitable for all. So please give Cephas or Gwen a call at 850-482-2233. Again, that's 850-482-2233, or simply stop by for more information. It's People's Funeral Home.
Okay, well, we'll move on to sports, and we're going to talk about the national championships that took place this past week. We had the women's national championship to take place. South Carolina State, Don Staley's team did beat UConn, and that score was 64-49. And Byron, this is Don Staley's second national championship. She also won it in 2017, so she's made history.
Yeah, I was happy to see that.
Yeah, the only I think African American to have won 2 national championships. So kudos to her and her team. They play. I don't know if you have had a chance to watch them, but it's a pretty good team. But I'll tell you what made headlines. Her jacket. I don't know if you saw the pictures, but you'll see them right here. Her jacket was a Louis Vuitton jacket, and it cost like $4,800. And people, did not like that for some reason, Byron. I don't know why, but I mean, I noticed it. She took it off during the game, but during pregame and during the first part of the game, if you see right here, she has it on. It's a green jacket with number 54 on there. But people did not like the fact that she was, wearing such an expensive jacket. But I didn't have a problem with it. Would you have a problem with that?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's something up with all this criticism, I'm not trying to make it racial, but I'm just saying it's a lot of criticism on Black women on what they wear, especially the coaches. We had the other issue with the sister. Like I say, now in their argument, I guess they was trying to say the Texas A&M coach was I guess trying to say she was too sexually explicit with her clothing, but it wasn't. It just fitted the way it fitted. So now with Coach Dawn, it's because it's an expensive jacket. Like, people can't wear. I mean, come on,
like she won't spend it, right?
Yeah, I mean that's wild. I mean, we don't hear these NBA coaches if they're wearing. We don't even know how much the suits they wear cost.
Right.
So what is that? I don't get it. So
I
don't know. That's something that's kind of got me baffled. I guess that's the only criticism that they can give. But at the end of the day, I know she ain't painted no mind. They did an outstanding job. That game had me on my toes because for a second, I was like, hey, but they dominated. They dominated that game, and it was great to see them pull that win off. Because I was like, man, the defense. That's I gotta admit, I like watching female basketball and female softball better than I like watching NBA and Major League, because I mean, especially in basketball, you see the fun. If you ever want to watch a fundamental game being played basketball the right way, you watch female basketball.
College basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to see defense being played, watch women's basketball, watch WNBA, watch college basketball. I mean, NBA is killing me now. Nobody plays defense. Everybody, dunks is cool, but I mean, I really, it's more competitive, the best we got is college sports, but watch female basketball. I'm telling you, I like it.
I agree. But Byron, not only did she catch flack about her jacket, which is a cool jacket, she also caught it about her boots. She had some Louis Vuitton boots on, some little sleek black boots on.
Yeah, man.
And it cost like over $1,100. But
I guess she supposed to just have,
some
Payless and then she should look. Then they'll like Belichick, they'll give her crap for that, right?
Right. Yeah. You just can't win. But hats off to Coach Staley. Awesome job. I love to see the sisters dressed on the sideline. I love to see them in heels on the sideline. I like that. And so keep doing what you're doing. Keep wearing what you're wearing. So
one last point that got me thinking. That speaks to me and my wife had this conversation. Like, that speaks a lot about society. People, no one knows how much hard work you put in to get where you're at. But once you're there, it's like, oh, you got this, and oh, you got that. No, I got this because I bust my butt, and I'm gonna enjoy my success.
I'm just gonna mention this, a couple of accolades she got just this year. She got SEC Coach of the Year. She got USBWA Women's National Coach of the Year. She got Naismith College Coach of the Year, and then WBCA National Coach of the Year. So she got a lot of accolades this year, and basically most deserving for her. So again, yeah. All right, I'm going to move on to the men's basketball. Did you see that game with Kansas and North Carolina? Did you see that one?
I'll be honest with you. When I saw the game about 6, I think North Carolina was up like 15 or 16 points. The game started watching me. I fell asleep. And then when I woke up, Kansas won. And I was like, what happened? And I got caught up in underestimating college sports. So yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, that was I think a couple people was trying to figure out what happened with that game, because at halftime, I think North Carolina was up like 16 points. But Kansas did defeat North Carolina 72-69. So Kansas Jayhawks are the national champions. But Byron, I want to tell you, they may not be able to enjoy this long, because there is a investigation hanging over their heads. Back in 2017, the FBI alleged that bribes were being paid to top recruits that came to University of Kansas. And so that investigation is still on and popping, and which will be pretty bad for them. They're alleging that Kansas men's basketball team in September of 2019, including the coach, Bill Self, and assistant Curtis Townsend. The allegations center around payments made by Adidas, which is the school's apparel sponsor, that were paid to prospective Kansas recruits. So that is not good to have hanging over their heads. And they've spent more than $3 million defending this. And so, again, it's still open, Byron, and, it could result in a slap on the wrist to anything from them being banned to competing in next year's tournament. So we'll keep an eye on that. But what do you think about that? I mean, it's like they were not the only ones. There were several schools named in that investigation.
Wow, it's that age-old conversation we have in the barbershops. In the past, it was like, hey, it's something always we knew it's going on. It just got caught. It's so much. That's one of those things. There's so much money and involved in these college sports. Not to mention just the nature of wanting to win at all costs. Things like this happen, and people have to police them better. But what allows it to get to the point to where, it shouldn't get to the point where a team goes through the whole season before, it gets, national headliner gets to where, gets to, I think, the moment those accusations and that investigation started, that should hinder the process, because you don't know what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, investigation like this takes years.
Yeah.
Like I said, this investigation started in 2017. And here's the interesting thing, that Kansas officials claim that Adidas representatives intentionally conceal impermissible payments from the university and its coaching staff. So basically, they're not saying it didn't happen. They're saying that they didn't know it was happening. That's what Kansas is saying. But, so we'll watch that. But again, they have this hanging over their heads. They're not, in the clear to enjoy it, totally. So, but Kansas is the national champions for men's basketball for the NCAA. And Byron, that's all I have for sports. What do you have for entertainment?
So for entertainment, I want to get into, everybody has worn it out on social media about the Oscars and Will Smith slapping the great comedian Chris Rock. So another one of Chris Rock's brothers, Kenny Rock, says that the Oscar slap eats at him. He says that you just belittle him. Chris Rock's younger brother, this is according to page 6. Chris Rock's younger brother Kenny says it eats at him. He watched the footage for the first time. He watched it like 20 other times. He can't stop watching his sibling being slapped by Will Smith at the Oscars, and called for the actor to be stripped of his Academy Award. Kenny Rock told Los Angeles Times that he initially thought Smith's action was staged just like everybody else, and then he realized that it was actually real. He said he first heard about the onstage incident while he was riding the A train in Brooklyn, and a friend contacted him, but the signal was poor and he couldn't see it. Since then, he's viewed it more than 20 times, and he's upset about it. He says it eats at him over and over again because you've seen a loved one being attacked and there's nothing you can do about it. Kenny's 42. He told the newspaper, every time I'm watching the videos, it's like a rendition that just keeps going over and over in my head. My brother was no threat to him, and you just had no respect for him at that moment. You just belittled him in front of millions of people that watch the show. So he goes on to say that, you know, he hopes that the Academy takes disciplinary action. He didn't take Will Smith's apology as genuine. He said that he felt like other writers or publicists did it for him. He said that the joke was funny. It wasn't hilariously funny, but I know that if Chris knew that she had, meaning Jada Pinkett Smith, she had alopecia, he wouldn't have made the joke about her like that, and he didn't, but he didn't know. So that goes to our conversation.
That's the question.
Yeah, that goes to our conversation offline. We were kind of wondering, like, I mean, did I don't think he knew. I mean, that was the point you made. And then I came about, I was like, didn't he do a whole show? He sparked the whole black hair conversation with a documentary. So you wouldn't think that he would be that, informative, when doing a joke like that. So I felt like he didn't know, and I didn't think that he would do that based on knowing. Because then if he did know that she had alopecia and still went there with the joke, then that you probably deserve to get what you got. But either way, another one of his brothers that came out, he did one of his stand-ups, Tony Rock. He's another comedian. He went a little more hard in the paint, he basically was like, he don't, telling the spectators, like, this ain't the Oscars, don't think you're gonna come up here. If you do, it's gonna be some pushback. And he mentioned how there's 13 of the Rock brothers, and they didn't take that too kindly with how Will Smith treated their brother. So it's one of those things. I know we'll save it, maybe we should save it for the relationship.
Relationship.
So in my last story, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but there's been a video that went viral on social media, especially on Facebook. I think I've seen it on Instagram, where it's a funeral, but it's in a nightclub, and it's got the body it's posted up. And here it is. You can see it. The body is posted up, and people are having a good time. Personally, that probably would have creeped me out, but the rapper's name was Goo News, and the family has responded to criticism of displaying the rapper's body on stage. So they basically said that my brother was a king, and that's how exactly he wanted to go out. The family said that, it was revealed that the rapper's body was propped up on stage at a Washington, D.C. nightclub over the weekend. Gunu is his name, was 24. He was shot in a car park in Prince George County, Maryland on March 18th. Died hours later in the hospital. His native life was celebrated Sunday, April 3rd. So this hit, all weekend. And it shows his embalmed body propped up on the stage. I've seen the thing about it. I've seen this in a lot of comedy skits. I think Dave Chappelle did one like that. I know Deion Cole did one like that. And the footage that, it went viral. His mother, Patrice Morrow, I hope I'm not mispronouncing it, she defended her decision to display the rapper's body on stage. She basically said, for all the negatives, people probably don't even know nothing about us. They have no idea. People just saying what they want to say, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm pleased with how I sent my son away. I wish people would just let me grieve in peace. We celebrated the life. The brother said, the sister, Ariana Morrow, she stated that we celebrated the life of my brother how he wanted. My brother was a legend. My brother was a king, and that's how he wanted to go out. So to clear up the rumors, the nightclub had came out with a statement, and they basically said, hey, they were contacted by a local funeral home to rent out the venue for Gunu's homegoing celebration. They didn't know that they was gonna, have the body propped up on stage.
They didn't know.
And they sincerely apologized. So that's one of those things. They're offering $25,000 for any information leading to the arrest of his murderer. But yeah,
Byron, I wouldn't have gone to that. But people may not have known, but once you walked in and saw that on display, you did have the opportunity to leave.
Yeah.
So that's probably what would have happened with me if I walked in and saw that. I just turned the door.
Because I guarantee it probably was some people that was, you already drinking, so you probably didn't even realize that was real. You're like, is that real? It real? That's real about out there? Yeah. Man, I got to get out of here. Because to religious people, that that's kind of desecrating to a lot of people.
I mean, people can do what they want with their money, with they pay for the services. So it's to each his own. Yeah. But I know for me, if I walked in and saw that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just go right on back out the door.
Yeah. And then two sides to that is like, hey, you kind of put it out there on you put it on social media. You kind of put it out there on a public spectacle. So you can't really get mad at people criticizing it. If I put a post out there, and people start criticizing, well, I put it out there, so I got to be able to take what comes along with it. So,
exactly.
But well, that's it for me in entertainment. It leaves me with everybody just hanging there. Don't my wife don't bury me with my old school car, but
that's crazy.
Bronze or something. Yeah.
Which leads me to the relationship topic. How far would you go to defend your mate? And Byron, we're kind of piggybacking off of the incident of the Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Smith incident. And when we talked about this, I said, it depends on the circumstances. And we can take that circumstance and say, well, Smith could have refrained from, physical abuse and just let it fly out of his mouth. Whatever he was going to say from his seat, as he did after after he slapped him, he did say some verbal stuff afterwards. So, I was thinking that could have been enough. You didn't have to physically, vent your frustrations, but you could have verbally done it from your seat, and it may not have been such a big of a spectacle. So defending your mate, you do have to still be rational. You don't want to make the situation worse than what it already is. And I know we always, say everybody have to, you don't know what you would do in that situation, but you want to believe people can use cooler heads, especially when you're laughing at the beginning and then you see that look that you always refer to, Byron, as a look to get up and do something. But if you're, still, you have to remain like, you could just say it verbally. I mean, I'm all for, verbally correcting somebody in a very effective way.
I've had time since we've seen the video and we've talked offline, but I'm gonna stick to my guns on it after having all that time. I know I've seen a lot of podcasts, seen a lot of shows, and everybody seems to be a mental health therapist, psychological, specialist and everything. But once again, now this is, like I said before, this is for people that are in marriages, time in. I'm talking, 15 plus 10, real time in. Will only understand what I'm saying. And I noticed, I looked at a lot of comments. I seen those that majority of the people that had a opposing view were either single, not married, or were in a relationship but not long. But those that defended Will Smith or felt like he might have been in the wrong place, wrong time, but he did the right thing, were either married or women. And my point to that is, as a husband, it is one of the hardest things to deal with is not being able to be that security, be that provider that you want to be, and that you feel like is your job for your wife, your significant other. And one of the hardest things to do when it comes to a woman and your wife is their self-concept and how they see themselves and the perspective of who themselves. And there's nothing you could do. It's like a helpless feeling. And we don't know behind closed doors the relationship that Will and Jada has and her actual insecurities. she may project herself on TV and on the red table talk and everything, but you don't know deep down. And
but Byron,
women
we do
have,
know she did go through depression. That
yeah,
was because of, you know, her situation with the hair loss. So we do know that. We do know that she had obviously had a rough time in going through that.
And my point to that is and men know what I'm talking about. When a woman gives you that look, and it's not like do something or else, it's that look of helplessness. It's that look of, see, I told you. It's that look of like nobody's there for me. I don't care who you are. And I can say, and I said, you asked me, and I said, hey, you know, sometimes we had that moment where I guess I'm gonna go to jail today because I can't, I gotta do something. And it might have been one of those moments. Everybody, you know, I know people say, you know, Will's went through a lot, but Will, to me, he's been pretty, you know, he's been, you know, a straight arrow for a long time, and you can't tell me he ain't dealt with a lot of, you know. So I kind of think that, you know, it's a combination of the two. But you know, that feeling, you know what I'm saying, that feeling that I can't do nothing, and men, we naturally try to fix things. We're fixers.
But Byron, let's go here. So, you know, Chris Rock, you know, basically was issuing words.
Yeah.
And words do hurt. I get that. So I was saying, you know, Will, and he did afterwards, you know, told him to keep his, you know, wife's name out of his mouth, but could have responded verbally, as opposed to physically. You know?
You shouldn't get physical. You know, you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, you can't dictate how somebody's gonna respond once, you know, when you do something like that. Now, what I don't like with comedy and comedians, I know that's the job, but a lot of times they hide up under this umbrella of it's comedy, blah, blah, blah. But even comedians, you know, when they're in those nightclubs and there's certain people they know that, you know, whether they're, you know, felons or gangsters or whatever, they not gonna make jokes on certain people because they don't know what might happen after that. And It's like, hey, you know, you have a discretion. You have, and you know, to me with Chris, that's not really the comedy that he does. You know, it didn't seem like, I felt like maybe he had a writer or something that threw that in there, and he was like, all right, whatever.
Confirmed that he didn't know. So if he didn't know, he really was, you know, and she does look like Demi Moore with, you know, she could play G.I. Jane. I mean, that's all he was saying. Now that I know that he didn't know, I really believe he was really likening her look to Demi Moore and thought she would be a great, you know.
I think honestly,
it has nothing to do with him being, you know, hitting below the belt. I believe that he just
honestly, I think from both of them, it was a little bit of I ain't gonna say bullying, but they both was trying each other in that moment. You know what I mean?
I don't think Chris was doing that.
I do. As a comedian, man. As a comedian, you if you go there, you tested somebody out when you do a crack joke.
I don't think he was cracking a joke on her having alopecia. I think he was just really making But
once again, that goes back to females. You know how sensitive black women, whether she had alopecia or not, you know how sensitive black women are about their hair. And then, from a Will Smith perspective, I don't think he would have ran up on that stage if it was anybody. I think he felt. You see what I'm saying? I think from both of them. Yeah, it was a little testing on both of them. But I think
here's the thing, and I think people saw this. Will was laughing at the beginning until she looked. So
that's why I said that look had to.
You know, he didn't think it was a big deal till he was like, "Oh shoot, I forgot." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, unless that laugh was like, "I'm gonna get you" laugh. Like some guys try to be like, "All right, yeah."
I think he was laughing because he thought it was funny. He thought it was funny.
You think he thought?
Yeah,
he slipped up. Yeah, he slipped up. He looked okay. I got to do something now. Yeah, that could have been it.
But someone called Roger and myself and proposed that question to Roger because, you know, as you know, when I went through chemotherapy, I looked the same. I'll show you that picture right there. You know, and but I chose not to go out, you know, with my hair like that, pretty much because I kept everything on the wraps. But anyway, someone asked him that if anybody saw me and made a joke, what was his response be? And he said he would have, corrected him and said something to him, but not physically. That's what he said. So, but everybody's different. But Will is to me. Will had time to think from the time he left his chair to the time he didn't run up there. You know how people get all kind of flustered and just act in the heat of the moment. He didn't do that.
That's why everybody thought it was staged.
Exactly. It was all calm, cool, and collective. So, he had time to think and retract and backtrack and say, you know what, I ain't gonna do this. I'll get you afterwards though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's my thing. I can't say, being that it was the Oscars and it's on national to everybody around the globe watching. I can't say I would have jumped up there on stage, but it would have been stage. When I caught him, I can't tell you when it got physical, but and if he didn't, I'd have definitely said some words that have made him what everybody looking around. You gonna let him say that to you? It's gonna have to go somewhere. But so but either way, it's what's done is done, and so now we got to see what comes out of it. But
so we all have to ask ourselves. I mean, how far would we go to defend our mate? And my answer is, I'll go to the length higher, but I will still use, to my best judgment. I'm not gonna cost, our family, if it's not reasonable. Like I said, if there's no physical altercation going on, then I don't need to be physical. If it's verbally, then I'll be verbal for real.
I'll be honest. I can't do it. I'm still young, so I still got some of that He-Man juice in me. I can't say what I wouldn't do. One of the things that always followed me in life, I'd go off and cats would say, like, I understand why you went off, Dick, but man, it's just how you did it. And my response will always be, well, I tell you what, I guarantee you they won't do it again. Not with me, So word to the wise, just stay away. Don't go there. I'm the nicest person, but just don't go there. We good.
I get it. All right. Well, that was our relationship tea topic. So everybody gotta ask themselves, how far would you go to defend your mate? And I'm pretty sure it would depend on your personality as well as the circumstance. So, all right, Byron, that's going to wrap up the show for today. We had a lot to talk about. We was trying to catch everybody up because we had been off for a few weeks, but we're glad to be back, and we'll be back the following week. So I want to thank all of our supporters for watching us and for seeing us in the streets and saying hi and letting us know that you watched the show. We really appreciate you for doing so. So with that said, we're going to end the show, and we're going to say, when you know the truth, you can speak the truth. And the light shines brighter when it shines for two. We'll see you next week.